Hey viewers, this is Musa, and this is InvoNews Podcast, and we have our guests there, like Troy Lajambi. He's director of business development, and we have Alex McDougall. He is a CEO and co-founder at Big Shooter Golf. So I'm pretty excited to get started. So yeah, how are you guys? Good.
Great.
Fantastic.
Good.
Excited to be here.
Good to know that. So, let's just start. Like, I wanted to know, I'm a bit curious to know, like, were you guys friends when you came up with the idea of Big Shooter Golf, and how did it came into being?
Yeah, a couple of summers ago, so the summer of 2020, when life was very stable and everybody knew exactly what was going to come in the upcoming months. I was kind of in a situation where I was kind of getting tired of the same old grind of work, and I was chatting just on a patio with two of my best friends, Alex and another one of our co-founders, Brett, and saying, there's got to be a better way. What can we do? And Alex was very excited about this because he's like, Troy, I've known you for so many years. Let's do this. Let's build something together. And we were kind of going through back and forth of what we could do. And then all of a sudden, there was this one little thing that Alex was doing with a bunch of friends to keep everybody connected during that time where people were at their least amount of connection during the initial COVID spike, and that was being able to golf. And they were golfing from different places against each other. And I was asking, how are you guys doing this? And Alex said, I built this, this little spreadsheet, this algorithm that allowed us to golf on different golf courses. So I can golf on a Tuesday at my course in Toronto, and, Brendan could golf at his over in Alberta on a Wednesday, and other friends in BC and all. And basically there were these touch points where everybody could golf against each other. From their own respective schedules at their own separate times. And it was just a thing that Alex put together by fun. And I remember sitting back and going, this is the way. This is unbelievable. Do you realize what you've done? And I'll let Alex take it away from here. But to say that, it was just this spark of, this thing that came out of the unknown, and that was 2 years ago. And now we fast tracked to where we are now, which is a full-fledged business that's ready to conquer the sporting world on multiple levels. So,
So we kind of had there's 5 co-founders. Everybody was friends from before, although with different friend groups. And it really, it started out pretty grassroots with just a summer tournament with a bunch of friends. Turned into kind of a V1 of the application. We ended up making a really strong connection with the Canadian Junior Golf Association, who are our great partners, and really started building kind of custom technology specifically for them around this idea of there's golf happening somewhere, but there's all this value and all of this interest and all of these other things that are happening in sort of the digital version of that. So really kind of this idea of connecting the physical and the virtual version of golf. And there's a whole bunch of iterations that have gone through on that side, from some really cool metaverse ideas to some augmented reality ideas, to more hub and spoke type tournament models where you can play in one place, play in another place, and have all that tournament happen together. So it's been a really fun 2 years or so. It feels like it's been 10 decades, but still pretty early in the evolution.
Pretty interesting. I think you guys love golf, and that the way that this virtual golf came into being, right?
It's kind of funny, actually. Like I was kind of the only big golfer when we first started this. So the rest of the co-founders, our co-founder Brett was a pretty big golfer as well. But we kind of created the thesis around golf is fun even if you're not great at it. And so, let's create ways for people who aren't, power golfers to compete against their friends who play a lot. Let's do, scoring adjustments and handicap adjustments. Let's create, video game style, like simulated golf, where you don't even need to play golf at all to be able to compete. So we did it a lot on people who weren't golfers, but golf's a really fun sport to be able to get into. So it's kind of funny that it wasn't like I'm passionate about golf and we had like an enjoyment of it. But Troy will always tell you it's just an outdoor bar. And so being able to add some competition and some wagering and some additional fun to the game was really part of it as well.
Yeah, I've been talking to Troy before. Like, he's super excited about launching this game, the beta version.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, it's sports has always been the crux of many friendships. And the thing is, you can't, like, I come from a hockey background, like many Canadians, and it's not like I could sit there and play hockey at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday at a rink and have my friends play on a separate day at a separate time and say, well, how did you do? I did this. Okay, well, let's compete against each other. It just doesn't work that way. The nuts and bolts of sport don't allow for that type of intersection. But golf, you can, and that's where the sweet spot is. It's the one sport where, because it's an individual sport played on identifiable parameters of difficulty, which is the course and the slope rating, you can measure one course versus another, therefore a person's play versus another. So that's really the groundbreaking thing. And when we tell people that, as our, when they're asked us what is Big Shooter all about, and we tell them and we say, yeah, and we just open with golf anywhere, anytime, blah, 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 and we explain that, their eyes open like, oh my gosh, wow, actually, now that I think about it, this is doable. How has nobody ever thought of this? You guys did it? Amazing. So there's such an excitement level to be able to turn what was once a video game only type experience, where someone could sit in their living room and play against their friend in their living room, but actually bring it to the real world with their real stats. So being a real life video game where you're the athlete, you're the digital player, but you're doing it with your own, your own characteristics and abilities is awesome. So we're pumped about that. But as Alex was saying, there's a bunch of little things that we're adding to that, umbrella of activity that we're creating. That is just, it's really, really starting to take off and gain the interest of a lot of people in the field. So.
Understandable. And it's quite interesting, getting to know more about what Big Shooter Golf is. So for our audience, Alex, if you could explain a bit more about your vision behind Big Shooter Golf and what is it is actually.
Yeah, for sure. So basically what we're building today with the Canadian Junior Golf Association is a way to get a pro style golf experience at a very, very, very low cost, and for any tour, any tournament in the world. So whenever any players are playing, there's live scoring that they're entering themselves. They can post media to it. People and parents and fans and coaches can log into the app and follow along. You can kind of have this experience like you would at a PGA event. But you can do it for any tournament you want, and you can do it for even just a bunch of friends playing together. So there's this overall concept of kind of gamifying, connecting, virtualizing the golf experience overall. So whether you're playing on one course, whether you're playing on multiple courses, there's a whole bunch of gamification to it on that side. What we've added that's really interesting, and where kind of a lot of the economics and a lot of sort of the technological evolution is an augmented reality overlay called Big Shooter. Which is basically a brand course engagement strategy where we have some digital marketing background, and we'll talk about it in a minute, but you're always trying to find sort of the people who are the most interested in your type of product and the most engaged and self-identified. And so there's literally no better way to do that than, hey, I'm playing a round of golf. I get a bing that says, hey, you're near the hacker's treasure in this bunker over here, and it's a 20% discount on a tailor-made wedge or something like that. It's a person who's actively playing golf, who's actively in a sand trap, who's actively about to use a wedge. You can't get better sort of brand engagement than that. But one of the things that we're really passionate about, we're from the kind of the Web3 space, and particularly on sort of the data sovereignty and value share, is really creating this kind of golf to earn model, where a lot of the economics that are coming in from advertising platforms like that are flowing right back out to players in the form of rewards, discounts, and actual kind of currency and actual value share. So there's a lot of blank to earn models in blockchain land right now, and in all sorts of different lands, but it's always sort of a one-sided economics flow. So really what we're trying to create with this Big Shooter platform overall is, here's a really interesting way for brands and courses and players and tournaments and tours all to engage with each other with a whole bunch of monetization pieces to it. But let's make sure that's transparent. Let's make sure the value is flowing to the people who actually create it, which is often the golfers, and really kind of be the platform that creates those circular economics. So then the last piece is sort of this full virtualization. So Again, we're Web3 people. I love metaverse stuff. I love sim
Mhm.
golf. I think I might be the only person in the world who's ever actually played it.
Mhm.
And I love there's a platform called Zrun in metaverse land right now that you have little NFT horses that race against each other. So we created something called the Big Shooty platform, which is basically little NFT golfers that play tournaments against each other in the metaverse. And you can train them up based on your real golf performance and based on how often you play, based on if you undertake tasks and quests and things like that. So really creating this kind of fully virtual version that you don't even need to sort of connect to the physical side. And so it really, the sky's the limit in terms of kind of models you can layer onto that. But that's really when it comes down to it is engaging all the stakeholders in golf and making sure there's transparent economic value flow throughout.
Mm-hmm. Understandable. Like, you've named metaverse that interests me as well. Like, because I'm pretty much excited about hearing anyone is stepping in blockchain and in metaverse and in NFTs, building NFTs. So, do you have any interest in building NFTs or like? I saw that platform actually have some NFTs in it. So, could you please explain me about
Yeah, for sure.
what
So, and I
actually
think
encourages you to go for the NFTs?
right. So I mean, we've always had the thesis that blockchain doesn't matter unless there's a value proposition that can be tangibly better for the end user. And so we take a really big kind of abstraction approach. Like we'll put blockchain into the back end of our stuff, but we're not going to go out and be like, it's a blockchain golf platform, because nobody cares.
Yeah.
You need to have it be something that's objectively better than what you could do without using the technology. So one of the things that we do with NFTs is for all of our tournaments that we run, winners get an NFT automatically minted for them on. We're using Solana right now. We've used Polygon, and we've used a couple other platforms in the past as well. And that NFT serves as your access ticket to kind of a Champions League meta tournament. So functional use of NFTs like that, where only people who have this ticket, this golden ticket, can access this tournament, are places where we're really passionate. Or another one is every 5 guys who are playing against each other, or girls, put up 10 stable coins as their stake. The winner of that little competition gets an NFT trophy that's minted for them that serves as their private keys to claim that pot. So things like that, where it's very functional use of the technology to govern value transfer. But the big shooty golfers, those are also NFTs. So an NFT that has golf attributes kind of baked into it, but generative NFTs, so they look really cool. We've taken a lot of kind of pop culture golf stuff and turned them into 8-bit NFTs. So it's a really cool looking collection. But also they can evolve. So the actual metadata in them that governs their golf performance evolves as the person plays more, as the person does more quests, as they engage with coach NFTs. So it's really kind of the gamified side. So we think about NFTs really in sort of 2 ways. Like a lot of NFTs today are very much art. We have some art in ours, but we really want to make them functional, usable, visual, and also add value to the actual platform.
Mm-hmm. So are you creating NFTs in-house, or like how are you going to do it?
Yeah, so we have an awesome designer who builds a lot of our kind of visualization stuff. So it's actually where we've gotten a lot of our brand traction so far is on kind of our NFT asset design. And so we have the ability to mint NFTs ourselves. We use a bunch of the existing platforms. We're looking to programmatically generate NFTs on a lot of these kind of trophies and tournaments when we really start getting scale. And there's cool technology to be built there. We're looking to use in-app actions to trigger NFT creations and then settle into automatically generated wallets within the platform. So yeah, there's tech to be built around that. And so we have the team in-house, but maybe we'll keep talking with you guys as well.
Okay, understandable. So I'm quite interested to know more about, as you mentioned that you are entering into blockchain technologies, as many sports in we can say football is entering in this territory of metaverse. So do you have any plans to continue this, or do you have any plans to enter in this space maybe in
Yeah,
future?
absolutely. So yeah, and I think kind of the key place that we're doing it is sort of two actions. A lot of people are experimenting with the metaverse right now. They're kind of trying to figure out, what makes sense. Should I just buy random land and hold it and hope it goes up, or should I drop a yacht on here, or should I live beside Snoop Dogg? Or there's a whole bunch of things that people have tried that have generated sort of little spikes of action, and then okay, what do I do? So it's really like, to us, it's sort of around like a master planned community almost, that has an anchor thing like a playable golf course with retail and brand space around it, with real estate as part of that as well, event space, like really something that is multifaceted and adds and creates a comprehensive, cohesive ecosystem. Sure. So we're actually working with a couple of real world master plan community developers to kind of create some things in the metaverse ecosystem. We've had some really interesting conversations with the Bermuda tourism folks to turn some of their famous golf holes, so on Port Royal, into metaverse holes and use them as kind of the showcase pieces. So you can either do it in kind of really cool 8-bit, like really stylized, or some of the graphics engines are on the newer metaverses are getting really, really good as well. So there's a ton of stuff that we can do that way. And yes, is the short answer. We're very, very, very focused on building towards that.
Amazing. Sounds interesting. So, I need to know about, like, do you have any intention to enter into 3D gaming world as well?
So yes, we have intentions to enter into everything. So I know, I think that
you name it, and we're going to enter in that world, right?
Of course.
Okay. I can't hear you.
Oh, Alex, we cannot hear you. Strange.
Okay. Yeah.
While he's trying to figure that out, I can kind of jump in there. So essentially what we're trying to do is, because of the original idea, which was, taking actual physical golf and treating it like a video game experience where you can golf anywhere, anytime, we thought, well, and since we're building these digital versions of ourselves, I guess the grand vision, and this is down the line as the trajectory grows, but we are very excited about where we think this can take off. So I can golf in real life against myself. The grand vision is I can pump in my stats into my phone, which creates my big shooty, which Alex spoke about, which is that digital version of myself. And now that can exist in the metaverse or on online gaming via the phone. Well, the next step is people are golfing on simulators. So basically they go to a bar, they go to a restaurant, or they go to their own garage where their friend has one of their rich friends has one of these ridiculous golf setups in their garage, and they can golf. Well, the plan is to be able to golf against people on any medium. So if I can golf against someone on a screen, if they hit balls against that screen, well, now we're competing against each other in two different facets. Go even further, and as to Alex's last point, where you're golfing on the metaverse. Well, now someone could strap on a headset. I've got an Oculus at home. They're still a little bulky, but they're fun as heck. Who knows where they're going to be in 3 years? But they can golf on Port Royal against me, who's golfing against on my course, on my own home course or whatever. And now we can compete against each other on different levels. So that is kind of a video game experience. So on a 3D level in the metaverse side of things, that's kind of where that ties in. So to be able to just golf on any platform, let me rewind a bit. Our first slogan at Big Shooter was golf anywhere, anytime, against anybody. And now the grand vision is golf anywhere, anytime, against anybody, anyhow. So if I can compete on any platform, whether it's real life golf, on my phone via an 8-bit gaming system with my competitive player that I've built, whether it's on a simulator at a bar or whether it's with an Oculus over my head, that's the grand vision, is to be able to compete on all those different facets. And that's pretty exciting because that really hasn't been done yet. but that's the grand vision. And I think a lot of people, especially investors of ours, are really, really locked into that. They see our growth potential and where we're headed, and we're kind of ahead of the curve on that. So yes, we're starting small, which is golf anybody against anybody, anywhere, anytime, and with the AR elements, but in 2 to 3 years, the grand steps are those facets. Yeah.
And understandable. Sounds pretty fair enough. So
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes,
Alex, we can hear you again.
we can hear you
Cool.
now.
Yeah, just the last thing to add to that is it's interesting that you asked the 3D side after the metaverse side, because metaverse technology is not wonderful right now. And so we've got sort of early mid 2000s level graphics engines that are kind of what the currency of the realm is.
I always say, sorry to interject, Alex. I always say metaverse right now is in the Nintendo Wii stage. Mm-hmm. Soon we will be in that PS4, PS5 stage.
For sure, yeah.
Ahead. Yeah.
That's true.
Go ahead, Alex. Sorry.
No, keep going. I think I'm about to freeze again. So yeah, but it's the graphics is not great. So it's kind of 3D engines are more challenging to use.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Understandable. So I wanted to know, is it okay for a startup or a young company to hire a dedicated group of developers to streamline your operations? Like, what do you say?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's currently what we're doing. We've had some great tech help from, we've had our lead engineer, Hassan, who has built a lot of the back end stuff, but he's created outsourced a team from different groups that have come together and bought into our vision. And yeah, that's the way to do it, in my opinion. I don't know if Alex has any other ideas on that, but it's based on how we've accelerated our growth. It has 100% been the best solution for us.
Yeah, I think the way that we kind of look at it is we want to have sort of a core nucleus of skill sets in-house and sort of protect our core IP and build MVPs, build kind of V1s of things that don't exist yet, and then really engage external help for horsepower. And so we've expertise on scaling and efficiency and things like that. So that's really how we kind of engage our internal team versus our external team. But we've had great success with a number of external folks, including InvoZone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, understandable.
Absolutely.
Sounds interesting. So another question I've got in my mind. So would you like to share some of your pain points when you started working on Big Sugar Golf, and how did you cope up with those pain points, and how do you overcome those challenges?
I think I can speak for, I think I speak for Alex, but okay, I'll speak for myself. Sure. At first, the ideas were grander than the execution. So what happened was we would talk to our in-house team and be like, can we do this? And they'd say, yes, we can. And we'd be like, great, let's do it. And then we'd go and promise the world to certain clients or organizations. And they worked their butts off to get us there. But there'd be like these limitations to what the tech could do based on our sizing at the time. So I think the pain points all stem from the top, which we've learned is, build and grow as you can. Yes, keep the dream alive and keep that vision going, but make sure that we're able to execute properly on delivery dates. And that was a learning curve for me, just because we all get so excited about what our team tells us. Yeah, we can do this, we can do that, we can do this. It's just we needed to rein in the expectations of time. And now that we're growing and we've got a bigger team behind us, yes, we're able to execute much quicker and much better. And I think we've gotten a lot better at being able to be like, okay, here's what our deliverables are, and realizing those. That as a business development, person, that's been my kind of difficulty, is making sure that I'm aligned with my development side to make sure that we're there. But I think we've stoked those fires pretty well to the point where we're good now, and we're in a position where we're comfortable with knowing each other's paces.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. and I think, and this is maybe more entrepreneurship writ large, is, having a massive vision is helpful and great, and it kind of, spells out the whole roadmap. It allows people to see kind of, dream on the future, that $2 billion valuation that everyone's looking for. Like, it allows you to kind of realistically get to those things, but at the same time being able to sort of go the 1 foot level of granularity and say, okay, well, this line of code needs to go here into on day 1 and day 2 and day 5 and day 30 and day 60, in order to kind of keep trucking on those milestones. So I think, you see a lot of entrepreneurs sort of at either end of that spectrum of, they only have an execution plan for today, or they only have this massive big vision and no sort of granularity into like, okay, what do I do first? So really, we kind of try and spend a lot of time like, let's lay out the massive vision, but put that on the back burner for right now. What AR item goes onto what hole of this course right here now? Which brand is paying us dollars to engage with this thing now? So really trying to kind of have a good ability to zoom between those micro and macro views is kind of key. And that backs onto the technology side as well. Of it's, you can't eat an elephant in one sitting. You need to, and every technology feature from a business perspective is, it's easy, I'll just do that, it's like this but different. And obviously it's infinitely more complex than that, as we kind of lift up the layers and kind of get into where the scalability is, and building out proofs of concept and MVPs are very different than building out systems that are able to support 10,000 concurrent connections. And the amount of rework required to kind of go back and rescale takes longer to build something from scratch that's built to scale versus getting something to production. So a lot of those pieces have been kind of things that we've learned and evolved over the years that we've been doing this now.
Understandable. Great. So that's pretty much it. I wanted to, about what are the functionalities you wanted to add in your app. Like, you were going to launch the beta thing. So what other functionalities or new functionalities you wanted to add in?
Well,
yeah, go ahead, Troy.
Well, I was just going to say the immediate important one is to make sure, as we previously discussed, is to lock down those AR feature sets, to make sure that when I'm on the course and my phone buzzes, I'm, on the fairway, my phone buzzes, I open up my camera mode, I turn around and there's a floating logo of X brand here. I walk into it and it says, congrats, you've just unlocked 20% off of, a concession at the golf at the clubhouse, where you can get 20% off the club or whatnot. And then making sure that and everything is going well with this, but making sure the execution is proper, that they add it to their digital wallet in NFT form, that transaction could then be made at the clubhouse. They've got a system in play where they can say, yep, that is 20% off, then transaction completed. Making sure that turning a golf course into a digital wonderland, as I call it, is at the forefront. That's our biggest operation at the moment, because we see that if a golf course golf courses are competing against every other golf course in the world. They just want traction. They want people coming to their courses. And we know that if we can turn their courses into digital wonderlands of prizing and rewards, that people will say, hey, what course do you want to go to? We can go to this one, or we can go to the one where I can win a bunch of free things like hot dogs. I could win half off beers. I could win 20% off of golf clubs, whatnot. They're going to choose those golf courses because people like prizes and people love free stuff. So making sure that those avenues are in the app and they're properly executed and that they look great and that people are excited about it. That's our day one. That's our thing that we're trying to lock down right now in terms of feature sets. Then as we go down the years and years, as we were talking about the whole metaverse aspect, there's a ton of things that we want to implement. But right now, as Alex said, don't eat the whole elephant. Start off with just maybe the foot. And the AR side of thing is right now is the foot. It's the meat part. It's what people really are excited about at the moment. So
that's great. And finally, I wanted to ask you guys, like, where do you see Big Shot Golf 5 years from now?
An entirely metaverse native company. I know. So I think the
That's what I'm
grandest part
expecting from you guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think the way that we've always kind of envisioned it is what Troy said, of be able to play against anybody on any form, anywhere, and including the artificial intelligence characters. So these NFTs that we built that are playing in kind of these simulated world, I want to be able to shine my AR on an actual golf course and see my NFT that I'm playing against. I want to be able for somebody who's playing in the metaverse to have an Oculus and see my vision of my actual course. Like this kind of complete blending of physical AR and VR. That's really kind of the goal that we're creating, this sort of complete universal competition. And this comprehensive engagement of all of the golf stakeholders, both physically and digitally.
And to me, one more thing I'd like to add on that, where I see us, like where I know, holy geez, we've made it. And it's definitely my focal point long term. People play sports, they love sports, but for the most part, like I'll go back to the hockey thing. I played hockey growing up, but at the end of the day, my attention was on the National Hockey League. That is, that's what everybody, just like football, people play football, they dream of playing NFL football, or they watch football on Sundays, watching the NFL. I have this grand idea, and we're starting to implement it, where you can enter a tournament. Let's say there's the Masters, which is the grand PGA level tournament. Well, you can play from your course in the Masters, theoretically, with our app, by playing on your course, submitting your scores, being on their leaderboard. My grand vision is where players from around the world can compete against every single PGA athlete in PGA events. And it's on the Big Shooter platform, and we think that it translates really well for that league to have a growth engagement with their fan base, to say, hey, jump in on the action, play against us, play against the pros, and having this like global gamification against actual athletes. And I think that has never been done before. People can't just go and pick up a football and throw a touchdown pass to a wide receiver like Stephon Diggs of the Buffalo Bills. They just can't do that. People theoretically can play golf against Tiger Woods in a tournament using our application and be in the leaderboard and in the conversation. And I think when we truly made it, where do we want to go? It's when we are seen as the global way to connect professionals and their fan bases.
When we're ready to roll.
Exactly. And that's where I see it, where people are like, yeah, you know what, this is it. So
yeah. All right, guys, thank you so much for your time, and really had a great time talking to you guys. And I wish that all your visions and missions came into being. And it's as Troy said, like he wants to keep the ball rolling, and it's happening. And I would love to have another conversation with you guys again. And
and Musa, when you go and you get your trailer and you come to the campground here, I'll come and cook you some hot dogs and hamburgers.
Would love it. Would love to have
Play some golf.
Would love for sure.
Yeah, we'll play some golf for sure.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Thank you so much for that. Have a good day.
Appreciate
Bye.
You as well. Bye.